Cyberpunk 2077, the game that was going to make gaming great again. At the tail end of such a turbulent year like 2020, it was exactly what the gaming community needed to recoup our morale. What we were promised was an ambitious gaming project by a beloved developer that would define the next generation of gaming and set the bar for the foreseeable future. Projekt, the famed Polish developer, first announced they were developing a new Cyberpunk game in June of 2002, along with a trailer and magazine cover showing off some impressive graphics and textures, especially for the PlayStation 2. It wouldn't be until over a decade later, in 2013, that the game would be re-revealed to the public during the lead-up to the release of The Witcher 3: Assassins of Kings. A reveal which created unprecedented hype not seen since Fortnite or Minecraft. The hype was off the rails, dominating the internet on every page of every website, hype so vast and spectacular that it seemed unmatchable, or perhaps even unsustainable. Following the release of their third and final Witcher game, Projekt would find themselves in the limelight as the golden boys of gaming, the studio everyone trusted, and the developers who had already set the bar for open-world action RPGs with their blockbuster release of The Witcher 3. Unfortunately for Projekt, all good things cannot last, and their next game, the once heralded heir to the throne of The Witcher 3's Gwent card game, would fall so short that the gaming community would be torn to tatters, along with the reputation of the once great game developer. Cyberpunk 2077 fails on every level to deliver what the fans and the critics alike wanted in their futuristic transgender role-playing simulator. The game is bugged beyond belief, with textures failing to load in, physics running amok, and an apparent lack of enemy AI whatsoever. The game fails to hold a stable frame rate on last-gen consoles, and even dips into negative FPS in very effect-intensive sequences. The lack of a Gwent-esque card game and the complete and utter failure to release this game on the Nintendo Switch or Xbox 360 will undeniably relegate Cyberpunk 2077 to the dustbin of history, condemned with endless comparisons to games like Fallout 76 and Mass Effect 2. Let us now compare the game that was promoted to us against the game that we all unboxed on release day. Firstly, the in-game textures and lighting quality can be seen here as far under the benchmark we had all been advertised with the marketing materials. The game looks ancient in its released form. Frankly, the comparisons to Deus Ex Humanity Divided and Super Mario Sunshine cannot be overstated, as many fans and critics alike have pointed out in YouTube comments, Twitter replies, and Reddit threads. As you guys know, I've already been diagnosed with 7 different types of terminal cancer, but this game seems to have unfortunately given me my 8th. If there's one thing the Polish developers at Projekt should understand, it's that a wealth of content is and should be the goal of every video game. The more stuff a player has to do in his or her or its virtual world, the better. Gwent and The Witcher 3 at large demonstrated this better than any game before, in the way that the world and quests of Gwent were packed into the game with reckless abandon, often overwhelming the player and making it a psychological feat to accomplish any task in the game at all. As any perceived success of any size in a game like this adds infinite quality to the game and the gamer. With this concept firmly understood, it is perhaps understandable that the gaming community should be outraged and irate when the developers of a game intentionally remove features from their product, such as the amount and quality of the various dildos and other sex toy related items that litter Cyberpunk's open world. Before we move on, I'd like to give you guys a very special and rare opportunity. I had the chance to interview a former Projekt developer, an employee at their main office in Warsaw, Peter Presbolewski. He gave me a little bit of inside information on why this game went the way it did, what they failed to do, what they could have done better, and who exactly is to blame.
Yeah, hello.
Hey Peter, it's Nick.
Oh yes, very nice to talk to you. What is it you're wanting to talk about?
So Peter, as a former employee of Projekt, I've just got to ask you, man, straight up, what's wrong with your fucking game, mate?
Yes, very proud the work that did the project create for going on teen decade year, and we make many good games. We make Fisher, we make Fisher 2, Assassin the King, and Fisher 3 Wild Hunt. We did, everybody loved that game. But this game we wanted though it was going to be most ambitious, game ever. With many great role-playing features, and what happened was our boss, CEO of CD Projekt, his name is Adam Kaczynski. He wanted to be called Ted Kaczynski, though I don't know, but he was fucking obsessed with genital, with the fucking penis and the vagina. He was obsessed with it. We say, hey, look at this gun I made. Mr. Kaczynski, I made this very cool gun, ray gun. He said, where is the dick physics? He said, when you shoot somebody with a gun, their dick should come out of their pants and wiggle around. And I said, it makes no sense. And he said, I wanted him to game. So we had to, instead, we knew there were very many bugs. We knew bugs were in game. But instead, he said, I don't give a fuck about bug. I want you to make more penis in game. We said, why it's first person game? Why it matter what penis your character has? He said, if I'm playing game, I want to know what size my character's dick has. If he has small dick, I won't be able to respect him as character, and it is very, very strange. So he also wanted dick modeled on his penis, and of course I knew what his penis looked like. In Poland, it's very, very common for boss to pull out dick in front of employee, and he would look at the dick waggle, and he would say, that is not a fucking good dick. He would pull his out, he would say, slap it and see how it wiggle in the wind. So I would touch it, and he would say, touch it again, this time harder, and I would touch it harder, and he would say, now put it in your mouth and see how it become hard. And I would say, I know what you are doing with this. I know exactly what you are doing. I do not want to suck your dick. He said, you will suck my dick. And at this point, Angry Joseph from the United States, YouTuber, not nearly as good a YouTuber as review Tom Reisenthal, I may add, but he was in the corner masturbating. He was saying, "Oh yes, very good, Adam Kaczynski, very good." And that is what is wrong with the game. Let's not get started on his racial politics either. Because at first you could choose your race, and that would affect dick size. If you were black, you would have very large dick. If you were Asian, you would have almost no dick. And back then, we had an option for you to pick gypsy. And gypsy would have no dick. And I said, this is very racist, Adam. Why are you doing this? And he said, gypsies put a spell on my household at a very young age. All of my games are a way to get back at them. And then I realized, in all of the Fisher games, you are killing monsters that are made to look like gypsies and Jews. I realized that. I would go back and look at that. Yes, and that is what is wrong with the game. No bug fixes, because he was just obsessed with the fucking penis and the vagina.
Peter, thank you so much for this interview. It sounds like this Adam Kaczynski guy was a real freak, and I'm surprised to hear that Angry Joe was involved, but I can't say I'm shocked.
Well, yes, of course. Most people don't know this. Angry Joe being part of CD Projekt. A very important part of the studio. He come in, he sexually abused people. He has 2 friends with him. His friends are not even friends. They are alien wearing skin suit. Just wanted you to know that.
Peter.
Other Joe, not even human.
Peter, thank you so much for this interview, mate. You really cleared up lots of our questions about the game.
It is my pleasure. And really, I do have to say, I really didn't want to talk to you. The only reason I called in was to the sheer importance of Tom Reisenthal, and of course, doing this in his honor. He's the first, the greatest of all YouTubers. So I just want to say that.
Thank you, everyone. This has been Peter Polachensky.
Thank you very much. Your name is Piotr Chrysinski. Thank you very much.
Thank you, goodbye. The main protagonist of Cyberpunk 2077 is, to all of our dismay, not Mad Max, as we'd all hoped, but instead it is Cyberpunk's infamous, and perhaps synonymous, poster boy, Jimmy Goldfinger, played by Christian Bale. This Hollywood superstar undertaking a task as magnificent as that of a video game voice actor would not only launch his career into the stratosphere, but it would also make him a meme like no other meme before it. A meme based on a real-life human being. The only problem with an actor like Tom Cruise portraying a character like Jeffrey Copperfoot is that he is not himself a disabled man with a missing limb replaced by cybernetics. The portrayal of him as such is a horribly ableist lie that CD Projekt Red is peddling to their young and impressionable audience. CD Projekt Red should have tried a little harder to get an actual disabled actor who was already missing a limb to represent the disabled in this game. And their attempt to slide past this obvious controversy is as insulting as the result it gave us. A malicious slight towards the disabled community from a company with this much size and power is an unacceptable yet unavoidable consequence of the capitalist world we've all been conditioned to accept. And that deserves perhaps more attention than even the bugs that have plagued and broken this game since its tumultuous launch. On top of the issues that CD Projekt Red has had with their representation of the blind and disabled in their supposedly futuristic game, comes their refusal to acknowledge or accept those in the gaming community that are colourblind, cinephiliac, or otherwise mentally challenged or handicapped. The absence of a black and white Kurosawa mode bewilders me, and I know I'm not the only one. The fact that CD Projekt Red would neglect such an obvious improvement to their game when much better games of the previous generation, Ghost of Tsushima, had already done this on much older and much frailer hardware and software. CD Projekt Red missed a major opportunity to improve on every aspect of their game, from stability to performance to frame rate and resolution, and even the story and the quality of the voice acting, with the simple addition of an Akira Kurosawa black and white mode. This would have immeasurably improved the gaming experience of Cyberpunk 2077, and I'm so disappointed that they oversaw this. One issue that I have personally had with Cyberpunk 2077, as well as the reception it got from the fans and the game's media, is that everyone seems to be embracing the soundtrack of the game, wholeheartedly praising it as some sort of impressive feat of musical composing. This overall reception of the soundtrack, despite the global outrage towards the currently unacceptable state of the game, seems not only to be a contradiction of the narrative we've all come to accept, but perhaps even something more sinister. CD Projekt Red may be manipulating us into realising that this game does not include any 70s and 80s hits that make Cyberpunk such a great genre. And what made the original board game so very appealing to the hardcore gamers and gamettes who played it back in the actual 70s and 80s? I don't know about you guys, but when I play a game like this, it's hard for me to fully immerse myself in a game inspired by the 1980s without the song Blue Monday by New Order being played on repeat the entire time. Yet, despite all these shortcomings, it seems like the soundtrack we got is wholly unapologetic in its attempt to whitewash the history of a black man's genre, and to morph it into something far more consumer-friendly, all at the cost of authenticity and historical accuracy, making the Cyberpunk 2077 soundtrack akin to something like Holocaust denial. To conclude this video essay, I'd like to make an appeal to the emotions of you, the viewer. When you think back to the games that made you the gamer that you are today, what are the standout features that come to mind? Is it the broken AI, the ancient-looking graphics, the muddled and confusing story? No, I don't think it is. I think what made gaming great for all of us was the time that we all grew up into it. When we were young kids who only had petty school drama to worry about. We didn't have jobs, bills, or marital issues plaguing our lives like we do now that we're young adults with responsibilities and lives to build. Unfortunately for me, the reason that this game doesn't bring out that childlike joy that I once had when gaming is because I'm currently going through a very, very messy divorce with a woman who spent years tricking me into believing I was valued and loved. Martha, if you're watching this, please let me see my children just one last time for Christmas with my boys. Mother, it would mean the world to me. I love them and I miss them. Let me see them. Let them see their papa. Mother, please, for the love of God, I don't know what I'll do without them. Mother, please, I'll kill myself. I swear to God. You think the bugs in the game look messy? Wait till you see the inside of my car when I'm done. Mother, please. Oh God, what have I done? If you would like to see more groundbreaking video essay content like this from the Revue YouTube channel, from me, Nick Ross, or from my partner, Tom Reisenthal, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, tell us what you'd like us to cover next. If you'd like to directly support our cause, please consider donating directly to our channel Venmo. Even though Cyberpunk may not be the game we all hoped, I hope you all have a blessed day. Goodbye.